Oh, I think it's gone live straight away. It has. Oh, there you go. That didn't take long for it to go wrong, did it, everybody? Hey, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Gooner gathering where we are professional streamers. Nothing ever goes wrong. And I am your host, Lee Meadows. Hi, welcome in. I am joined by my co-host and the poshest man in sports entertainment today. There he is, Posh
I'm your
Bertie.
co-host now. I've got a
Well,
promotion.
absolutely.
It's fantastic.
You've been working ever so hard. I felt very guilty on our last stream, Posh. I felt
I
very
do. I
guilty.
know. I work incredibly hard. I don't just turn up and just go hello and that's it. But yeah, I'm doing very well at the
That's good.
moment, Lee. I hope you are as well.
I am fantastic, mate. And you know what? I am so excited because we've got our first little guest in our lovely little channel. Fran, welcome in. Say hello to everybody.
Hello. Thank you very much for having me on. I was a big fan of Cannon Chatter. I love all Arsenal podcasts. And then when you reached out to me, it was really exciting. And I thought, well, I'm bad at replying, but you got me on in the end.
I
And here
got you
we
on in
are.
the end. And we've got plenty to talk about. We've got lots and lots of stuff to go through. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen, if you see my thumb going up and down. I've got my banners going on here, and yeah, so I'm working off the phone because as you all remember, my PC absolutely crashed on me last week, and it hasn't recovered since. So I think first thing I want to say really is a big thank you to Martin from Gunforce Edits, who has provided us with our fantastic logo that is on our Twitter page. So I wanted to give him a massive shout out. So there his Twitter handle is Gunforce Edits. He is a very talented man, worked for us on Cannon Chatter. So thank you very much for your assistance. It's really, really appreciated.
I'll give him a follow now.
Absolutely, yes. And it's another professional streamer. Look, she on the phone during the stream. I love to see it.
I'm already following him, but
Fantastic.
the logo does look great. It looks super
amazing.
professional. It's brilliant.
Absolutely, and it suits our style because we are professional.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Yeah, but you know what? We've gone 3 minutes, and at least I haven't cracked out yet, so that's good. So
your giant finger.
My giant finger, yes, the finger of power, the finger of doom. Yes, ever so sorry about that. Can't do much about that. Everyone's a critic, aren't they?
No one likes the finger poke of doom, Lee. Come on, you know this.
No,
I'm scared.
Very, very true. Where shall we begin today? Shall we begin with talking about the England game? That's probably a good place to start today, because considering where we're at and what we're doing. So we had our opening game of the World Cup finals today. We'll cover where it is and the controversy surrounding that in a little while. But we are really here to talk about football as well, aren't we? So we had the team announced, and sorry, the finger's coming in again, Fran. Sorry.
It's okay. I was only joking.
I know you'll find we'll do this to each other all the time. Don't worry. It's not as if we take a mickey out of each other all the time, is it, Posh?
Absolutely not. We are a serious bunch. We're very serious people. We're consummate professionals all the time. We definitely don't make cheeky references to other sports
or TV programs or anything.
Nothing.
Absolutely. So there we are. I've managed to pop the team up for us. When this team was announced before kickoff today, Fran, as you are our guest, what do you think of the team? Is this what you expected? Is there anything you might have changed from the start?
Is Ben White injured or he just wasn't picked?
He was an unused substitute today.
Yeah, that's disappointing, I think, in terms of form. He really deserved to be in. But and I think Ramsdale would have roused the team a bit better. You know what he's like from the back. But that is my Arsenal bias speaking. Apart from that, such an impressive team, and today we actually saw their potential, minus a few silly mistakes. Whereas I feel like normally we watch them and there's just no connection at all, and it's so frustrating because they've got such individual quality. But we actually saw some really good play today, so it's quite exciting. But I don't know whether it's a false start because Iran was so dire. What about you guys?
Posh, you take the floor, my friend.
Well, obviously, I have been known in the past to be quite a pessimistic England fan. So obviously, when I looked at the lineup, I know, shocking, right? And the first thing I saw was Harry Maguire. I thought, oh, for God's sake. But, you know, obviously, we had the likes of Saka starting. We'll get to him in a minute. But I thought, it was great to see him start. Sterling was a bit of a surprise. I thought Foden would have. I would have started Foden over him, in my opinion. And of course, it was great to see Bellingham start as well. Now, I'm not just saying this now, but for many, many, many times, I have said Bellingham needs to start in England games. He needs to. He can be a good asset to the midfield. And well, I'm not saying that I'm the smartest man in football or anything, but no, it's
But you're pretty close.
Pretty close, yeah. It's good to second after you, Mr. Meadows, and you, Fran, as well. But you know, it was good to see him start, and brilliant to see him get our World Cup off the mark with a lovely goal as well.
He played amazingly, as we all sort of expected, but weren't sure if he would rise to it. But gosh, did he? He's really special, but not as special as Saka, obviously. What you were saying about Sterling, that it was surprising that Foden didn't start. Thinking back, do you think maybe Gareth knew it would be quite an easy game, and Sterling was more of a player who hasn't been like super confident recently with Chelsea, and maybe it was a chance for him to bring up his confidence a little bit, maybe?
I think that's a really good shout, actually. And the other thing is, of course, in previous tournaments, Sterling has done particularly well. I know we were talking about players in form and such, and I've got to say, I think Phil Foden was incredibly unlucky not to be in there from the start today. But yeah, Fran, I think you've absolutely nailed it, mate. Absolutely nailed it.
Yes.
1-0.
Can I say another player I was surprised to see starting? He's a player that's not on this team sheet for some reason. We weren't down to 10 men, but it was old Mason Mount. I was surprised to see him there because he's been a bit out of form recently, but he definitely redeemed himself because he played very well in midfield.
Our midfield was just much better in general.
I'm only just mentioning Mason Mount starting just because he's not on the team sheet.
Thanks, mate.
I wanted to say,
look, I've done all this on my phone on the bus today after I came back from hospital. So sorry about that.
Bertie, how horrible of you.
He's like this to me all the time, Fran. I don't know why I keep on having him back.
I'm joking. Obviously.
I know, I am too. Just for that.
Constructive criticism. That's what it is.
I thought it looked a little light, the team. It looked like...
Yeah, well, England been looking light since before the World Cup, so
true. And still Ben White can't get a game. Hopefully soon.
That's the really interesting one though, because I mean we had Trippier at right back today. Now
he was really good though, I thought,
and he's had a really solid season at Newcastle as well. In all fairness to him, so that right back position is a difficult one to call. Sorry, Trent. I don't think you're going to get anywhere near this team at the moment.
I mean, it is excellent. I mean, should God forbid Trippier get injured, having Ben White to come in, another really solid defender, is excellent.
And Trippier being able to cover both sides, I think it really does put him in good position as well. My preference would have been possibly having Trippier on the left side, and mate, as you say, I might have had Ben White play, but then again, we are an Arsenal channel. We are Arsenal fans, and we definitely have a little bit of Arsenal bias there.
I have a lot of Arsenal bias.
One rather serious bit of during the game that, on the first half, which I did manage to watch live at work, I thought it was quite concerning. I'm gonna give the pronunciation a go. So if it is incorrect, I apologise, but I tried my best. That's all I can do. The goalkeeper, Benravino or something like that. Anyway, you absolutely nailed the pronunciation again. I know I've learned off Paul Merson.
Yeah, excellent.
So there was a short free kick that was played to Harry Kane, who lifted the ball in, and there was a really nasty collision. The goalkeeper, who I won't mention his name again, and one of his defenders, and it was pretty obvious from where I was in the Tesco canteen, other supermarkets are available, that the poor guy was in no fit state to continue. The guy was down for about 7 minutes. Yet their medicals team thought it was okay for him to stand up again and try and shake it off, shake the cobwebs and
It
such.
was shocking. It was shocking. Absolutely unbelievable. I thought there's no way he's going to go back on, and then he went back on obviously, and after a minute everyone could tell there's no way. I don't know how that's allowed to happen. I mean, is each team controlled by their own medical staff? Don't you think there should be like general, like World Cup medical staff that make these calls? Because the medical staff from each team will have directions that are in the team's interest, saying like, you must keep the goalie on because he's an excellent player for them, but something's not right there. I don't know how that was allowed to happen.
Yeah, my understanding with the concussion protocol and all that sort of thing is that there's independent people assessing the players. That's what I thought. And I know some players might be a little stubborn, say, no, I'm fine, I want to carry on. I mean, let's be fair. This is the World Cup finals. This is probably the biggest game in the guy's career, certainly in terms of TV companies all around the world watching it and all that sort of thing. But I would suggest it was pure negligence, in all fairness.
It was, yeah. No, it was really disappointing to see, because there has been so much discourse around it, around head injuries, especially in the Prem. To see that, it was like going back in time. But sorry to cut in.
Absolutely fine. This is an open forum where we'll all add in wherever we see fit. I would say it's the manager of Iran as well. He is no rookie. He was the former Manchester United assistant. It's Carlos Queiroz. So it's not, there should be, he should have had the experience. He should have had the know-how to say, well, look, I'm going to make this call. We'll take the goalkeeper off. I mean, I would suggest it doesn't necessarily put the sub goalkeeper in the biggest light. No, I can see about 5 footballs, but I'm sure one of them's right, and we'll carry on. I know I'm sort of half joking around with it, but I didn't think it put anyone in particularly good light in the end.
It was kind of one of a number of like chaotic elements, at least just today, because I don't know if you saw about half the fans, like their ticketing app's not working. Did you see that? So
yeah,
I did not, but
yeah.
So lots of fans in the Netherlands Senegal game. The stadium was half empty for most of the game because the ticketing apps weren't working. England fans couldn't get in right at the beginning.
Yep.
There was some other and then we'll talk obviously about the armband thing and stuff. But there was another kind of administrative thing. Oh right, already some poor VAR sort of penalty decisions and stuff, when you expect the World Cup to be different from our. Well, I mean, it's the first day, we'll give it a chance. Maybe it's just teething problems, but quite a lot has been a bit chaotic today.
The Ecuador's disallowed goal against Qatar instantly springs to mind yesterday.
What a match!
I was going to come to that, but do you know, we're talking about it, so we might as well. You would have thought, with all the controversy surrounding the tournament itself, being in Qatar and all that sort of thing, is that we'll just have a nice, easy match to start with. Well, I think that lasted about 3 minutes before the former West Ham striker, Enner Valencia. Yeah, put the ball in the net after 3 minutes. I think everyone I've spoken to around my friendship group thought, yeah, goal, no problems. It was only about 2 minutes afterwards when I hear Dion Dublin saying, "Oh, hello, I think there's a VAR check for something," and even they didn't know why.
Oh yeah, apparently no one in the stadium knew at all. I can't remember if it got clarified to us on telly because I was only half watching, but we were very confused.
7 minutes later, they put up a really odd-looking graphic for me, and they showed the player's knee might have sort of slightly been offside, but I don't think that was what VAR was for, really. The terminology they always use is 3 words. It's clear and obvious. It wasn't clearly wrong. I mean, for me.
Oh, I feel every video assistant referee just needs a children's reminder point in front of them, just with a first question, it's this fluorescent orange sheet saying, "Is it clear and obvious the error?" And then they tick yes or no. And if it's no, then we chuck it. I feel like that's forgotten so often.
Exactly. Just to show, I don't know how much we want to sort of talk about the Ecuador game and everything like that. Probably not too much, but just for clearing the facts right, the ex-West Ham man did score both goals in Ecuador's 2-0 win. So we'll put that one to bed for a minute, shall we? And we'll move back to, we were talking about the England game, and we were talking about Bellingham, and we were talking after all the chaos surrounding the goalkeeper. About half hour had gone of a lot of stop-start football, which I think Iran would have been quite happy with, because I think they were frustrating us. My mind sort of went back to a previous World Cup opener when we get, I can't remember, was it Tunisia perhaps? One of the lower ranking side, where it took us to injury time to get a goal to win in a fixture that you obviously expect us to win. But thankfully, it didn't take that long. Bellingham got his goal from the cross from much maligned Luke Shaw as well. Another one that was a bit iffy for me in being in the squad. But Bellingham got his first England goal in that one. Anyone?
Yeah, I mean, I've said this before, but I've been saying Bellingham needs to start in midfield. He is, like I said, he's a brilliant asset to the midfield when he was at Dortmund, and I was confident he'd do the same at England, and he's proven that, and it was a fantastic goal as well. Not just a goal, but everywhere on the pitch as well. The entire game, he had a lot of energy. He was brilliant. I can't say a bad word about him in that game. And the fact that he is only 19, he's younger than me, and I still look like a 12-year-old. It is phenomenal.
A very handsome 12-year-old, I might add, Bosh.
Oh, yeah. Don't.
You've made him speechless.
Don't make me as red as the England away kit. Come on now. But I was very, very impressed with Bellingham. He needs to start more in the World Cup, in the World Cup games. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope he starts
partnership
every
with
match.
him and Rice.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, he just really interlinked with everyone, I think, from what I remember. He was just here, there, and everywhere, providing a link between front and back. But yeah, he is. Is he available for transfer in summer?
I'll get on the phone and I'll ask someone.
Give him a ring, yeah. Bring him over.
Mikel, if you're watching,
because they do listen to us, Bosh, don't they?
Well, Sky Sports listen to us.
Really?
There've been a number of times where either me or Mr. Meadows here have said, I think if something along the lines of, if this player crossed it a bit lower, maybe it would have scored. And then you hear the commentary. No. We talk about I don't know. Oh, we've had a lot of possession, and then a stats graphic comes up saying possession, Arsenal 70%. And they're like,
oh, of course.
There you go.
You should sue them.
Maybe.
Well, maybe we'll have to take over. I'm sure the viewers of Sky Sports would love that.
We would. I think commentary is very boring at the moment over the football matches. It's just like Mount, Grealish.
I think Dion Dublin needs to stick to Homes Under the Hammer, in my opinion.
Do you reckon they need to watch us doing the Wolves game, mate? That's what they need to do.
To digress, are you guys? Do you watch F1?
A little bit.
No, I have a cousin who is obsessed.
Well, the commentary on that is absolutely incredible. They're talking throughout the whole thing, giving like insight stuff about like the tactics, the tire change, and it's like entertaining as well. I just wish there was a bit more of that in football, but maybe it's tradition that they're a bit more.
Peter Drury's a good commentator.
Absolutely.
I can never tell their voices apart.
So I highly recommend listening to us on this channel here on the Gooner Gathering.
Do you do watch-alongs every game? Are you aiming to for Arsenal?
As and when we can. I think sometimes it's a little bit difficult, but we'll give people plenty of advance notice. When they can, if they choose to listen to our wonderful tones and our wrestling references and whatever else we can come up with.
Oh, cool! I'll be listening to that. I'll jump on if you need me as
Please
well. I love watching.
Are you a wrestling fan yourself, Fran? We got to know this.
Unfortunately not. It's not a sport I've ever got into really, but I'm sure I would like it if I did. But I don't want to get sidetrack you with wrestling. Get back to football. I get the impression that you quite like wrestling.
I think you need to watch Posh's Desert Island Kickabout on Cannon Chatter. That's what I think.
Well, is that a good introduction?
That's a very, very good and clear indication.
That was when I actually had an excuse to talk about it, because you asked me if there was a wrestling match I could throw onto this tape that I have on the Desert Island. So at least I had that was a legitimate excuse to talk about it.
Yeah.
Shall we talk about football again?
I think we should.
Stop now.
I mean, I don't want to sort of spend the whole podcast talking about, dissecting a game that everyone's probably watched, but I think it would be a lot of fun, especially as we're Arsenal fans, to say how proud we are of our star boy. And would you like to talk through Saka's wonderful finishes today?
Oh, I was just absolutely chuffed. You can talk through the finishes in a bit more detail, because I was painting at the same time, so I was mainly listening to the game. So I'll let Bertie or you talk about the actual finishes. But I was just about to say something and I've totally forgotten what I was going to say. Go on, talk about the finishes. I need to remember what I was going to say.
You take it.
Well, I didn't see the first half because I was having a driving lesson, believe it or not.
We've let you down, Lee.
I knew this anyway.
But I saw Saka's second goal, and I was very pleased about that. And I will echo on what Lee said. I am incredibly proud of Saka. Again, someone else who is younger than all of us. And to see someone achieve
doesn't take much for me, does it?
At this age, Lee, you're only 23. Come on now. And but yeah, I'm how far he's come. It is phenomenal, and I'm just so proud of how far he's come and everything he's done. And it's just so good to see him get 2 goals and player of the match. And
yes. Since the Euros as well, it really was a make or break after all the horrible abuse he received afterwards and stuff. It's like you're either going to sink or swim here, and he soared. His mentality is incredible, coming back from a setback like that and all of the horribleness afterwards. So young as well. And time and time again, we see him step up, at least with Arsenal, and hopefully other England fans will see his strength of character in the World Cup now, which we already know about. And it's like showing off as an Arsenal fan, like your darling child. Like, look, we're so proud of him.
I was watching this, so I actually seen the first goal live, and literally I've got my boy, my beautiful boy.
Our child, look at
I
him.
know him. I've seen him on TV. That means I know him.
Absolutely. We'll give we'll give the human fridge a bit of credit as well. That's Harry Maguire, by the way.
Yes.
He won the header on for Saka to for the cutback, and Saka's finish, which was a thing of beauty. I've got to say, he couldn't have hit the ball any harder.
Oh yeah, I remember that one now. Brilliant.
Oh, it was nice to see. It was nice to see. We go in 3-0 ahead because of Raheem Sterling. Yes, right. Yep. Kane's cross. Sterling first time finish. We mentioned that he really needed a bit of form. I don't think he's scored for Chelsea. He plays for Chelsea now, Lee. That's right. Since the opening weekend of the season.
Oh, hasn't he?
Yep. So, but like I said, with his England record, remember he scored an awful lot of goals for England over the Euros last time as well. So it was nice to see. We go in 3-0, nice and easy. Let me just get So the second goal, you mentioned the Saka goal.
I wanted to say on Saka, I found it quite interesting, the contrasts with where we see him. I don't know if you guys thought, but he seemed to be coming in field a bit more and like having a bit more variety in what he does, because so often in Arsenal we just see him go down the wing, then cut back and cut across, but he was doing much more beating men. I don't know whether it's because Iran made us all look better, but he seemed to have a bit more about him in this system. I don't know if you guys thought that.
Yeah, I'd probably go with that from what I've seen.
He just played amazingly, and maybe it's because Iran were not great, but he was beating so many men and looked so confident. But anyway, back to what you were saying about the second half.
Well, I was going to say it felt very much like, from what I've seen. So I saw the first half live. I literally got the BBC iPlayer highlights of the second half. So, but it felt to me like the job's done. Things got a little bit sloppy after the fourth goal. Should I go for another pronunciation? Trey, I believe his name was, the guy who scored the 2 goals for Iran.
Jeremy.
Yeah, and him. That's his brother, isn't it?
Yeah,
I should think so.
Yeah. So I mean, I've got to say they did get a quality goal back, and I will say he scored a very composed penalty. You mentioned VAR and how inconsistent it might have been. Did want to bring out this, that they earned the penalty right at the death. Right, I mean, literally on the I think it was the 13th minute of injury time.
They loved injury time today.
Didn't they just? But Maguire, literally in about the 5th minute of the game, was literally rugby tackled, and yet no one VAR checked that one.
Yeah, it was the same but worse with Maguire.
Yeah.
And that wasn't given. It's just consistency even across a game. Like, make a decision whether the first one's going to stand, then do the same for the second one. Do you ever watch Mark Goldbridge?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I'm aware of Mr. Goldbridge.
I love him. He's hilarious. But he was going, "You better not give that pen. You'd better not give it. You absolutely cannot after what happened to Maguire. Oh, he's bloody given it, hasn't he?"
We've got impressions here as well. Friends bringing out the impressions before us, mate. Should be taken over soon. So, yeah, I think, unless there's anything else that you two want to bring up from the England game, I think that's pretty much where I want to leave it.
Yeah.
We go to play the States on from Friday, don't we?
Yeah, they looked quite good. That'll be quite a good game.
Yeah, we shouldn't get too overconfident. That's the problem. We can't. Hopefully we haven't peaked too soon, but it's important not to get too overconfident. Because I was saying to Fran before the cameras went on, as an England and Arsenal fan, we all know it's the hope that kills you.
Yes.
And one game at a time. I'll be saying it's coming home. If it actually does, so
coming home for Christmas.
Yeah.
But that is something that Gareth echoed in his press conference, isn't it? I don't know if you saw it, but he really was holding back the thing and saying, no, we've got to do better. So hopefully he's keeping the lads in check.
You would hope so. I mean, conceding 2 a little bit sloppy goals is not really what you want to be seeing. But
yeah, if we concede those 2 in a tighter match, then we've lost. So yeah.
I mean, I suppose there's one other sort of. There was a slight concern. I'm going to put concern in quotation marks about Maguire because he went off about 70 minutes gone, I think. But I don't think there's an injury concern. I think they were just looking after him. So why not bring Eric Dyer on?
I mean,
yeah.
I'm not. Look. I'm. It's always bad. It's always unfortunate to see a player, get injured. I'm not going to make any comments, any crass comments on that. But it is unfortunate to see that. I do hope he's okay. It would be if he ends up getting ruled out of the entire tournament. That would be heartbreaking for him. It would.
Yeah, on a personal level, I feel sorry for him. I hate it's all right to joke about players, I think, but people really just going in on every single thing that someone does. I just, on a human level, I'm like, oh, I know they can take it, but I hope he's all right.
I'm all light-hearted, really. I'm harmless, honest. But yeah, so to I suppose finish up on the group, and we mentioned the score a little while ago. USA won, Wales won. USA were really good in the first half.
Go on, Wales, though. Yes. If England don't do well, I want Wales to do well. I'm super proud of them as well. I used to live pretty close to Cardiff, and I love the Welsh just in general, and Wales. I'm so proud of them. It's so exciting.
After seeing Michael Sheen's team talk on A League of Their Own, I don't know if you've seen that, but I do have a soft spot for Wales now.
Yeah, they're not I don't see them as our rivals in not in terms of their quality, but I think there are comrades in arms, they are little brothers. I want them to do well. God, I've probably just annoyed every single Welsh person out there, but I'm so glad they
drew. Watching, I can tell.
Yeah. The whole Welsh population is tuned
Mason
in.
Ryan
I'm sorry.
Stevie Ray. No. Sorry, there's another wrestling reference. Sorry, Fran. Behave yourself, you. Right?
I just smile and pretend I.
Mason Ryan, he's a Welsh wrestler. Looks a bit like Batista. Anyway, I think it was a good. I think USA and Wales was good. I think the USA did look quite good, so we got to be.
They looked better than I thought. They had some really good.
We got to be careful against them. Christian Pulisic especially. Wales can easily cause problems for us. So just because we did a brilliant opening game, let's all calm down a bit. Although I will say, Ramsdale would have saved that penalty. I'm just saying.
It was interesting, wasn't it? Turner versus Bale. Arsenal versus Tottenham.
I love Gareth Bale. I know, I've had
I liked him when he was at Real Madrid.
Oh goodness me, we're going into therapy sessions here. Right, okay. So Fran, how long have you loved Gareth Bale for?
Literally since he was at Spurs, and I was 12, and I just thought he's so beautiful, and I love his hair.
How can you say that when you've got Posh next to us?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know Posh.
Well, you should see. I've got this is a mask. You wait till you see what
You don't need a mask. It's a beautiful mask.
I know. I've my 9 chins are hanging out though, so you gotta try.
Stop it. I digress. Don't get me started on Gareth Bale. Love that man.
Well, in fairness, he did put the penalty away quite nicely. Going back to today's game, before we went into Dream World. Yeah. So Turner will be a bit upset with himself, I think. But again, 1-1 draw, perfect result for someone like me who's an Englishman. I couldn't be happier with that. And we'll go into Friday. I would say would be confident, maybe not overconfident though. There's still work to do, but it's first game in the group. 3 points for England.
Yeah.
Happy times.
It looks really good to everyone else in the tournament as well.
Saka joint top scorer in the tournament. How does that sound?
I think Saka to me and Mr. Meadows is what Gareth Bale is to Fran in a way.
I love all of them. All of them. I just love them. That's why I spent all my time just drawing them.
Have you done a drawing of Gareth Bale?
No. Arsenal at the moment. So I get everyone's trust. And then I can betray it and do some other clubs' players.
No, well, it's funny you should mention other clubs' players, because I happen to know. Thank you very much, Posh. I happen to know behind you. Yeah. You have a very wonderful picture of one Cristiano Ronaldo. Look at that! I've learned something, Posh. Look,
it's absolutely brilliant. Fantastic drawing.
So go, Fran. Explain who's Cristiano looking at. Mike. Fran, we can't hear you, darling.
You're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Yes, it's I'm sorry I couldn't show it to you very well, but I'll be posting it on Twitter, I think, tomorrow or later on. But yeah, it's Cristiano and his now and him in 2003 when he first put on the shirt for United. So because I imagine in the next week or so we'll be hearing that his contract's been terminated, and I just wanted to do a little tribute to him. It may not have ended in the most cordial way.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm firmly Team Ronaldo here. But I think no one can deny what he's done for Man U. And I think he may be proved right in the end about some of this stuff about the Glazers and stuff. So, yeah.
Well, it's an interesting one with Ronaldo, isn't it? Because I find it quite extraordinary, and I don't think I've seen it before in all my 40-something years on this planet, that a player under contract goes to speak to a journalist such as Mr. Piers Morgan on a 90-minute segment and literally tell all this dirty laundry literally days before he flies out to play in a World Cup.
Yeah, I can't remember which player it was though. Was it Keane? With Man U, did like a tell-all interview on MUTV or something.
MUTV, yeah.
Yeah, it was never shown, but it has happened before, and so in that sense, I guess he's not the first, but it is really shocking. Some of the stuff, like he's just thrown everyone under the bus, and me as quite a timid person, I just I completely respect that, and I just think like, go on. I mean,
yeah.
It's not hurting anyone really, apart from maybe some feelings, and we need more outs. I don't know. I wish more people would speak their mind in football, because it's also scripted what the players say and managers say. So when there's character in football, I'm all for it. And it's funny because it's not Arsenal, but if it was Arsenal, I'm sure I'd have a different opinion.
I think we had our.
I'll be getting my. I'll be on the street protesting.
I think we had our fair share of dramas with Aubameyang, like last term, for especially when that came to a rather messy ending, which is where I think this Ronaldo situation is going to end up.
But he wanted to leave. Apparently, Ten Hag was okay with him leaving, and it was the hierarchy at the club who said no, like we're not letting that happen, because they wanted a transfer fee for him. But if he's on 500k a week anyway, I mean, no one's going to pay that and a transfer fee when, yeah.
So I suppose all that being said, with that interview being done, if his contract does get cancelled, Mr. Morgan was a bit, I think he'd be perfect to play alongside Jesus.
Well, who would you rather have on, right, if we're 1-1 on the 90th minute? Would you rather bring on Eddie or Ronaldo? I would rather bring on Ronaldo. Nothing against Eddie.
I'll be honest, he has a point here. If against Eddie Nketiah, I would bring on Ronaldo. I'm just saying. But I don't want Ronaldo. I think the only. I don't think Ronaldo should come to Arsenal. I think after what he's been saying, I just think we can't have another. I know you love Ronaldo, Fran, but I don't think we can have another toxic figure in the dressing room, especially with what happened with Aubameyang.
Yes, and Arteta is very similar to Ten Hag in the discipline and authority kind of way. It would never work with Arteta, but we can dream. I think he obviously needs to go somewhere where he feels respected and loved and admired, as he should be for everything that he's done, all his experience. It was quite shocking to hear that he was often offering to help other players and give suggestions to the manager and was completely shut down. I think that's so disrespectful. But yeah, it would not work at Arsenal, but I wish it would. You really have to, I think, shower him with praise, and he's quite sensitive, really. I think he needs the validation.
Oh, bless him.
I know. I don't know what he's going to do on 500k a week. Oh, his feelings got hurt.
I know.
It is so egocentric and ridiculous, this interview, but I just love it. I think it's hilarious.
And I just think I think, will that come back to bite when it comes to Portugal's chances in the World Cup? If you've seen that video of him and Bruno Fernandes, there's a bit of tension there. I'm not reading too much into it, but there might be a bit of tension. There was something with him and Cancelo as well, and I just think it had a very France in 2010 feel about this.
A lot of infighting situation.
Where they all argued with each other and they end up losing every game or something like that. But Ronaldo's arrogance might get Portugal knocked out the World Cup group stage. Maybe not.
I don't know. I kind of hope, because he's had so much criticism though the last 2 years. Like, I really hope he just smashes it out of the park and scores a hat-trick every game. I think that would be great. But as you say, I don't know how much the dressing room drama and politics will affect Portugal. You'd think they'd put on the shirt and just be about country, but it does affect them, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I'm looking at Portugal first play on Thursday. I think I'm really looking forward to see how he performs, because in the interview he was putting it on not being happy at the club and kind of making excuses. Not that he was saying I can't have lost my form in a matter of months. It's just the environment I'm in and I'm not happy. So let's see.
We'll have to see how he does
in the pudding
for Portugal.
I mean, let's hope he's got over his cold that ruled him out of the last 2 United fixtures, eh?
Yeah, bless him. I hope he's all right.
Poor little sausage, eh? For what it's worth, if Cristiano was, maybe a couple of years younger, I'm not saying anything against 37, by the way. Hey, I'm 43 next week, so whatever.
No way. You do not look 43. I would have guessed 36.
Oh, thank you, Fran. You can come on again.
Oh, yay.
But if he had a little bit more, I don't know. One thing that sort of struck me was, there is. I'm not going to deny he's a magnificent athlete, and he's got abs where abs probably should be, and he's just dreamy and but as a footballer, he scores goals and everything. He's not the same player as he was like his first spell at United, say, or even at Madrid. So that's for my 2 cents worth, for what it's worth or not, But I just you like hot takes, Posh. My feeling was timing in football is everything, right? He's pre-planned this probably in about August time, saying right, so you're not going to let me go on a transfer right now. So okay, so we'll get up to the World Cup. I'll sit out the first 2 so I can have a night or the last 2 games before the World Cup. Then I can go up nice and fresh to Portugal. Then if I do all this tell-all interview with Piers Morgan, I might just sort of tear up my contract, won't have to play anymore, hang it up off the World Cup.
There's a pipe bomb, if you will.
That's what Goldbridge reckons. Yeah, it was just a way for him to get out of the club.
Yeah. But I guess time will tell. I guess nothing will get solved until either he returns home after being successful in winning the World Cup, or whenever he gets home, and then we'll see where he see what happens. It's under investigation. It's an interesting one.
Can you imagine an Argentina-Portugal final?
I think Twitter would explode.
Oh, I would explode. Wouldn't that be amazing?
And we'll live stream that explosion as well, shall we?
Just blood and guts everywhere.
Blood and guts? Was that a wrestling reference?
No.
All right, so we've covered Ronaldo, we've covered England, we've covered Wales. Shall we go into the murky subject of the World Cup in general?
Yes, let me at it. You guys can start.
You can talk about this.
I'll preface this by saying, look, as you probably guessed, Fran, by just joining us over the last 3/4 of an hour, that a lot of what we do on here is very light-hearted, and it is very jokey and everything. But when we're sort of covering the World Cup, and I was certainly very sort of, shall we cover it, shall we not? Because of the circumstances of how this World Cup is being held through, if you go back 10 years, I believe they made the decision to hold it in Qatar, which has got questionable reputation in terms of human rights and all that sort of stuff that goes along with it. I'm not going to pretend I'm any sort of expert, so I'm sort of bringing the tone to a serious sort of level, just for a minute. There's of course the differing words that are coming out about migrant workers that have lost their lives and the working conditions in building stadia. It's all very iffy, murky subjects, right? So that being said, the tournament goes ahead, as we know. We started up yesterday, just literally on the eve of the tournament. The FIFA president, Infantino, I think his name is, he makes this incredibly controversial. He makes a very outrageous kind of statement saying, "Oh, I feel disabled. I feel homosexual, or whatever. I feel like a migrant worker," and all this sort of stuff.
He wasn't saying "I feel like." He was saying, "I am gay. I am disabled." It was my partner and I were watching it just open mouthed.
Yeah.
It was.
So my thoughts process. So in any other form of reasonable life, I would say someone ahead of an organization. It doesn't have to be, you could be doing a speech, you could be on social media, you could be doing something silly on YouTube like this. You could even write it on social media. No, in any form of life, you make that sort of statement, you're going to have ramifications. You are, for me, that's an automatic lock-in. You're out.
Will he though? Because FIFA just get away with so much time and time again, and it feels like, will they even see any repercussions for all this?
So, my understanding is Infantino is going to be re-elected, unopposed, as the leader of FIFA. Well, I suppose, and I think I know the answer because this is just listening to you. Should he be? Is there anybody better can do this job? Maybe some better opinions, maybe.
It's absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I don't know. Have you seen the FIFA Uncovered documentary that's just come out on Netflix?
Oh, I have not. No.
You should. You
Tell me
should.
a little bit about that.
It just really shows like the amount of how much of it is about like politics, within FIFA and bribery and the way the votes, the way presidents get elected and stuff, and the lack of accountability and just funds going missing that are meant to be used for football development and yeah, you should give it a watch. It's kind of what you'd expect, like, because we all know at this point like FIFA's just terrible, but like how do you topple them? Because the FBI went and arrested a load of their hierarchy, but now Infantino's in, he's going to stay in. It's just rotten to the core. I think it just needs to be dragged down and started again from the bottom. And lots of times, real like kind of honourable people have run for president, but because they haven't paid countries basically to vote for them, they end up losing, and it's just a terrible organisation. And I don't know how a global organization all about football and supposedly ethics and morals can today do this thing where they put their foot down against many captains across the world wearing the One Love armband.
Yeah. So
that shocked me. But I don't want to. We can move on to that if you want, Bertie. I'll let Bertie speak.
Look, I what I say will not do it justice. I think I think both you, Fran, and Lee made good points about it. Look, it was 2010 when they decided they were going to host in Qatar. They had, hang on, let me do my math. 12 years. They had 12 years to change the venue, the country. They had 10 years to do that, and they haven't. They should have, but we are where we are. And look, that's I don't agree with the World Cup being in Qatar. I'm more annoyed at the fact it's in the winter rather than in the summer. But you know but that's just me. I look. I think what you both have said. I can't say anything that would be better. That would do it justice. So there we go.
I want to say that if FIFA award it to somewhere that's known to have questionable things differing to us, and I think FIFA should have a strict set of like guidelines and protocol, and to stay on top of the people who are preparing for the World Cup, and not allow things like these construction workers' deaths to happen. And there are a few certain things that like everyone's welcome and stuff like that. I just think FIFA should have oversee more of what goes on, rather than just saying here's the World Cup and presumably just like we'll see you in 12 years type thing, because then all this horrible stuff can happen and it looks terrible on FIFA. I mean, I have nothing against, obviously the Qatari people apparently are really welcoming and stuff, but it's just the whole of it just leaves a horrible taste in your mouth. And yeah,
I mean, that's an extremely good point. You know, there's going to be people that are, you know, innocent bystanders in the middle of this who probably are football fans and are just excited to see the tournament there.
Yeah, someone put a comment, a super chat in Goldbridge's stream earlier saying like, I'm from Qatar, I hope you guys are enjoying the World Cup, we're so excited here and it's so nice to see everyone here. So that made me think like, oh yeah, we can't put the whole country in one horrible human rights basket.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sure
go Fran, you go.
I was going to say, I'm sure lots of Qatari citizens are horrified by this as well. Like, we're so often horrified by things our government are not involved in, but let slide and stuff. Yeah. Grenfell. Continue.
Exactly. And all sorts of things have happened over the last sort of couple of years with, you know, COVID pandemic and all that sort of thing. And all anyhow, one other thing I probably want to bring up, obviously the decision was made in 2010 for the World Cup to be hosted there. Since then, there was an investigation. There's an awful lot of people that were in FIFA who were investigating and now currently are not with FIFA. I think that's very important to say because, obviously there's still issues as we've just covered. But I think it's probably important just to add that little bit. into that conversation.
That speech, though, does not give me any faith. It was just so tone deaf.
Yeah.
But
I mean, whether they were his words or and who approved them and whatever, it's just
it looked like he was just making it up as he went along. Honestly, it didn't look like he was reading off a sheet or anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, if lots of people are not there anymore, and maybe there is hope for FIFA, but I personally wish it would just be torn down and started again.
His speech reminded me, it was like trying to stop a fire with gasoline. You know, that's how it felt like.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I think that will probably do us in covering that sort of subject. I think it was something important that had to be said. I mean, certainly from a personal point of view, I can only talk for myself. I have people who are gay who are very close to me, who have spoken to me about that situation, even wondering about how to bring this subject up to like their very own families. And you know, I know Posh will know this. He'll know my little girl is autistic, and so I suppose sort of that is kind of classed as disabled. There are a little, you know, that's really what made me so passionate. I have to be very careful when using the words I want to use when I had talking about this discussion, because we're on YouTube and there's only certain words I can use on this channel. So, but I thought it was important to cover it. So
yeah, I could say a lot more, but I think we've kind of said our point of view, haven't we? In a very respectful way.
Yeah.
Well done, Lee. But yeah.
Thank you, mate. Cheers. Okay, so there are a couple of other little bits I want to go through with before we head off to enjoy our evenings. I suppose we are an Arsenal channel, so at the end of the day, so it's probably important to bring up a few Arsenal-based subjects and make it a little bit more light-hearted now.
Top of the league! Yeah.
Absolutely. So, I read yesterday that Emil Smith Rowe, remember him?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
What news?
I hear that he may be good to go for Boxing Day.
Yes! We really
Merry Christmas to us. This is brilliant.
It is great news.
It is great news.
I mean, we haven't seen him, I believe, since September. And in fairness to ESR, he's really had COVID issues. He's had all sorts of muscle strains and everything. He's been stop-start since about the start of the year, actually. To have him, fingers crossed, ready to go, a fresh engine, should we say, in a midfield of the, you know, if you think about, we mentioned Saka playing for England. If we have a fresh midfield, energetic player, do you know what, that could be a game changer.
Yeah, he'll also, he'll basically get a pre-season now, won't he? And it'll be like starting the year again. And they have warm weather training, don't they? A few friendlies, so he's got a chance to warm up and hopefully come in like, I don't know the expression, come in full guns blazing. We've really missed him, I think, so that's really exciting.
You know, his goal contribution, not just he's putting the ball in the net, the assists last season, his figures were outstanding. That cannot be underestimated. And yes, you're right, Fran, we've missed that young man on the field. Raw talent, great ability,
amazing off the bench as well.
Exactly. I mean, his contribution coming off the bench, I mean, he scored an extraordinary amount of goals at the back end of last season, just doing that. So I think that's quite exciting to see. You mentioned we have he will have a pre-season of such, because there are a couple of games. I think one's against AC Milan. I think Liverpool are going up in this same sort of tournament as well. So I mean, that's definitely worth keeping an eye on. And in talking about other Arsenal fixtures that are coming up tomorrow, if I just flip my page over here, it's worth bringing up because it's Arsenal news. There's a fixture in the Papa John's Trophy, and it's Stevenage against the Arsenal under-21s.
Yeah, Lovely.
So you'd have the likes of Hine, the goalkeeper, who had a very difficult time against Brighton in the Carabao Cup. I would imagine he'll get another bit of game time there.
Yeah.
So other players, younger players, I'm not qualified to talk about, but they'll get a run at in that trophy, and it's interesting pitting them against Stevenage or a decent side themselves. So I've got that to cover.
You mentioned Stevenage, a player called, he doesn't play for them anymore, but a player called Matt Godden used to play for them, and he was a phenomenal Ebbsfleet United striker. They're my local team, by the way, Fran. I'm just
Where?
saying. Ebbsfleet United, a club based in Gravesend.
Where's that?
And there we go. Matt Godden was a phenomenal striker for us back in the day. Where's Graves? It's in Kent.
Oh, Kent. Okay. I'm in Hampshire.
Which is in England, which is on planet Earth. Oh, okay.
It's on planet Earth. Are you sure you're on planet Earth?
Well, if you live in Gravesend, then I don't know.
Fair enough. Little bit of other news today. I don't know if you're aware of this. There you go. The finger of doom's coming out again.
Ah!
There we go. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst released from Rangers today. He has been there less than a year. He had a torrid time, particularly in the Champions League, where they had a couple of very heavy defeats. I believe they conceded 7 goals in one match. I just give him a little shout out. I thought Gio was a very, he came to Arsenal. He was a good player, good squad player. He'd never really hit the heights that he could have done, but he's still part of Arsenal history. So I just wanted to put that up there in terms of Arsenal news. There was a game at the Emirates on Saturday, which is, I don't know if you're familiar with this. You might know I do follow the WSL quite religiously, certainly since the start of this year, and there was a magnificent crowd at the Emirates as well, 40,000.
Brilliant.
Against Man United. It's just a bit of a shame we come from a winning position to lose. Unfortunately, you'll like this name, Posh. You know the name Russo?
I most certainly do. From my neck of the woods. Oh no, but Alessia Russo is from my neck of the woods, from Maidstone, which is also in Kent.
There you go.
So yeah, about half an hour away from me. So yeah, I
do
like the name Russo, and also the other Russo as well, of course.
Yeah, who Fran will not have a clue what we're talking about.
Stanley? No, Stanley Russo.
Yeah, I don't know about
that. No. We'll talk about Vince Russo later on.
Oh, okay.
Bro, how could you not know who Vince Russo is, bro?
What is this gimmick, man? Just to sort of cover it, Marnham and Wenreiter. Wenreiter got her first goal. That's just the right back for Arsenal. She got her first goal for Arsenal. Put us in a winning position, but yeah, Turner 85 minutes, Russo 90 minutes, and yeah, United escaped the Emirates with the 3 points, which is a bit disappointing. But here you go. It's one of them things. Do we have any other business to cover on my famous notepad? We go back to the World Cup briefly. We didn't really talk about Senegal versus the Netherlands. It was widely thought Gakpo, the striker, was the Netherlands striker, was a target for Arsenal. He got a goal really late in the game against Senegal today, so he gets a little shout out. And I think that pretty much covers everything I've got on my notepad.
I did watch Senegal Netherlands. I wish I didn't. It wasn't a very exciting
it's so
game.
boring.
It was very typical. It reminded me of the days when Van Gaal was the United manager, and they didn't exactly play quite excitingly. So yeah, brought me back to those
Good
days.
to see him though, because he's got his cancer diagnosis, hasn't he?
That's
and
right.
it's good to see him. He looks healthy as well, so it's good to see him there.
Yeah,
still
good
managing.
on him. But yeah, it was a pretty tragic game to watch.
Mm.
I don't know if you guys remember when we played. Sorry, is he a PSV Gakpo? Hakpo? I can't. What club's he at?
Yeah.
But Xavi Simons, the guy in his team, I thought like way outshone him. He seemed amazing, but maybe that was just a one-off match.
Mm.
But Gakpo did score today, so I know that Man U are also looking at him, like he's on their kind of watch list. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. I'm sure we'll talk about, or you will, or I will, if you want to invite me back. I love talking transfers.
Yes. Absolutely.
Nice.
It's been really fun having you on, actually, Fran. And
cool.
So what we'll do, just to go through our socials, Fran, you want to tell everybody where they can find you on Twitter and all that sort of jazz?
So my name on Twitter. Do you think Twitter will fold, by the way?
No.
I hope not.
Yeah, I know. It's like my whole audience is on there for like my art and stuff, which is my livelihood. So hopefully it'll be fine. Yeah, no, I'm on Twitter mainly, and it's Sini Sketches, which is my surname. It should be on the screen, and then Sketches, which is kind of a joke because they're not sketches. I'm actually really obsessive, and they're really, really detailed and take me hours. So it's a little joke, if you will. Yeah, Sini Sketches, and I also sell prints of my art and T-shirts and things. So you can check them out. You guys, when I next have the money, I'll send you each a print or something to say thank you for having me on, and you can have it in your background.
Thank you very much, Fran. It's very sweet, and I'll definitely have you on again sometime, and we can have a little discussion about which 3 matches you might want to watch on a desert island.
Oh, I'd love that. I was having a think actually.
We'll do that in the near future, as long as I get permission from Steve from Cannon Chatter.
Okay.
Copyright issues. Posh, would you like to do your thing, please, sir? Where can they find you?
Well, you can follow me on Twitter at PoshBertie, Instagram at BertieOneless. That's it.
Absolutely.
Can you say?
Can you say Twitter in real life, though? That's very creepy.
Can you say Twitter again?
At PoshBertie.
No, just the word Twitter. You said it so posh, and it was beautiful.
He is the most poshest man in sports entertainment.
PoshBertie.
I get called posh a lot, but I'm feeling quite common compared to Bertie. So,
as you should. And I live in Sevenoaks. It's one of the poshest places in Kent.
it's
I've lived there since 2012, so I've kind of evolved into this. So I can't help it really.
I've mutated.
Yes.
All right, you two. Can we just sign this out? We'll carry on flirting with each other in a minute. Yeah.
You're jealous.
You can find me at Gooner Lee Meads on Twitter. You can find us here at Gooner Gathering on Twitter. That is our official new page. So any inquiries, anything you want to ask us, pop it in there, and I will respond to you as soon as I can. So this has been a lot of fun. Fran, thank you for coming on. It's been really fun. Posh, as always, you're a star. And yeah, good evening, everybody. See you later. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.